Welcome to Dan's Food for Thought. On this episode, we're going to be making a banh mi sandwich. There's many different types of proteins that you can use for this specific sandwich, but today we're going to be making crispy pork belly. Let's get started. So first step, super important that we prepare this the day before. What I've got here is my pork belly with the skin on. Now, as you can see that I've salted this the night before, and what I've done is I've just stabbed holes across the top of the pork belly skin, making sure not to penetrate all the way through, and then I've just covered it with salt, and then we're placing it in the fridge overnight. This is going to help release any of that excess moisture in that skin. So as you can see, this is the next morning. We've still got a little bit of excess salt on the top of that skin, and so what we're going to do now is just pat it dry with some paper towels. We're just removing any of that excess salt as well. So now that I've pat that dry and I've removed that excess salt, we're going to flip the pork belly over onto the flesh side, pat that dry as well. So now we're just going to season the underside of the pork belly. We've got some Chinese rice wine and then a mixture of some Chinese 5-spice and cumin. Just putting a couple of teaspoons on there and then just rubbing it so it covers the base. And then just sprinkling the mixture of the Chinese 5-spice and the cumin on the base. And then from there, just use your fingers to spread it out evenly. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to take that pork off of the tray. I'm going to place it onto the chopping board. I'm just going to give that tray a quick clean. Place the pork back onto the tray. And what we want to do now is lay some foil onto your board. We're going to flip it skin side up onto the foil. We're just going to fold those sides up, create a snug and seal package around the pork. Before this goes into the oven, we're going to add a little bit more salt on top. This is going to help evaporate any more moisture left in that skin to give us that crunch we're looking for. Okay, this is now going to go into the oven. We preheated that oven to 180 degrees Celsius. We're going to pop that in there for 60 minutes. All right, just brought that out of the oven. It's been in there for 60 minutes. We can see that skin starting to crisp up. So now we're just going to transfer it carefully onto a rack, removing it from the foil. So take that foil away, and then back onto the tray. So at this point, the pork's pretty much well cooked through. So to finish this off, we're just gonna pop this in the griller for about another 25 to 30 minutes, just making sure we keep an eye on that. We don't want that skin to burn. That's just really gonna now finish off that skin. So now we're just gonna prepare our pickled vegetables for the sandwich. We've got a daikon and a carrot. First step, peel your vegetables. Now with your daikon, just go in the middle, cut that down to half, putting that flat side down, and then just running the knife, looking at it about 1/2 centimeter thick. Once you've done that, you're going to pile a few up, and then we're going to cut them into julienne. So now we're going to do the same with the carrots. Just one tip, just make sure when you're julienning these, just keep the flat side of the vegetable down so you've got a stable base. So now for the pickling liquid, in a saucepan on a low heat, add in vinegar, water, sugar, coriander seeds, salt, and stir until dissolved. Transfer vegetables into a large jar, allow that liquid to cool down, then pour the liquid into the jar. These vegetables are going to give us a crispy and refreshing texture to the sandwich, along with a subtly sweet and tangy flavour. Once finished, set aside in the fridge. After grilling, you can see that delicious crunchy skin on the top. It's really crisped up now, and we want to let that sit and rest for 10 minutes before we start slicing. As the knife cuts through, you can hear and see the crispiness of this skin, and we're left with this juicy pork meat which is so rich in flavour. Make sure we're using a serrated knife with this one and get through that crunchy skin. Nice juicy pork. So good. For the remaining ingredients, I'm using cucumber and a red chilli. Slice these how you like. I'm cutting the cucumbers on a nice angle. Now for the chilies, thinly slice them, keeping those seeds in for a bit of heat. Okay, so we've got a soft baguette here. We're just going to pop that into the oven for about 10 minutes, just on a medium heat, just to soften it up, and then we'll get building with the sandwich. So just pulled it out of the oven. We're just going to cut that roll up now. Make sure you don't cut all the way through. We kind of want it to open up like a book and then close back over. So we're going to get started with the build now. Just make sure that bread roll is cooled down before we start layering up with the mayonnaise. Just spreading both sides with mayo. Okay, so now we're going to go on with our pickled carrot and daikon. And cucumbers on. Some fresh coriander. Some chilli. And last but not least, just 2 pieces of that crispy pork. And then we're going to close it over. And the very last step, of course, we can't forget the Maggi original seasoning. It's just going to give us that umami flavour that's really going to top this sandwich off. And there we have it. Crispy pork, banh mi, pickled daikon, carrots, some fresh coriander, and some chilies. The story of the banh mi dates back to the 19th century when Vietnam was under French colonial rule. The French introduced their baguette, a long crusty bread, to the Vietnamese. The locals embraced this and began incorporating their own unique flavours and ingredients, giving birth to the banh mi as we know it today. Alright, let's see how this one goes. That is unbelievable. The crispy, salty skin, the pickled vegetables. No wonder they call this the greatest sandwich in the world. So good. After making today's sandwich, seriously cannot wait to head over to Vietnam in a month's time. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not, and we'll see you on that next video.